I'm Katie and this is
B.
Literally, we're just going to talk about like applying to unis and how all of that stuff goes down, basically.
Yeah, like the process and each stage along the way.
Yeah, exactly. So what comes first? Oh, the personal statement. Like, I actually had such issues writing mine. There was literally so much I wanted to include.
Yeah, yours had like 10 books in it, I seem to remember.
No, I had like 9 books and 2 poems, and it's in the space of, how many words do you get?
You get 4,000 characters, I think.
Yeah, literally.
It's not a lot. Like, it sounds like a lot, but
yeah.
I wrote like 2,000 more than I should have done, and I had to get my English teacher to just like chop the entire thing down.
Try not to write too much, because literally that will make your life so much difficult. I was like 100 characters over, and I just like changed loads of words. But you had to get rid of like actual sentences. Instead of changing just words.
So the personal statement, you don't have to find a certain theme, but like we both applied to Oxford, and Oxford like personal statements that really like focus on your subject rather than on other achievements that you've got outside of school. So I think it's good to put like a paragraph of that at the end, but the bulk of the statement should be on why you love your subject. So you've got to do a lot of reading around, a lot of like, they call it super curricular.
Yeah.
So for mine, I personally found I have a really big interest in an area of literature called eco-criticism, like the environment and the natural world. Yeah. So most of my personal statement like focused on analysis of that, and I kind of just brought in loads of text to do with that theme. So you can choose a theme and kind of run with it. Or yours was a bit different, I think.
Well, no, mine was on a theme. So my theme, like Marxist and feminist readings. So it was a lot about class divisions and gender divisions. But then, because that was so broad, I could talk about basically anything. Because what I found out is most things are literally about class and gender. So that's a fun way to get around it. At first I was going to do like tragedies, and then I was like, oh, I've not read any tragedies except like Jerusalem, which just don't do.
It's a comic tragedy as well. I actually did use Jerusalem in mine.
For eco-criticism.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, well that's fine. So anyway, have a theme. Don't write crazy amounts. It is less than a page of writing. And I don't know, like for Russell Group unis, but especially like Oxford and Cambridge, just don't go on about DOV and stuff.
No, like I wanted to put a lot in about, you know, things that I've done in the past, but it all just ended up being cut out. And even though they're things that I was really proud of and I wanted to keep them in, like I couldn't. And at the end of the day, like I still got offers from all my unis, including Oxford, without putting any of that in. They're more interested in super curricular and in you loving your subject. Before you even think about starting to write your personal statement, whether you're in like year 12 or 11 or whatever, just find what it is you love, because that's what's important at the end of the day. They need stuff in it that shows that you've done extra, and it's also so that not like the most privileged people who can get the places, because it's more about like things that everyone can access. So reading, like we both read, and like everyone can access reading. So it's not about like having had like really good lessons in like I don't know, like scuba diving. Like that's not what they're interested in, because they know that that's hard to access. So,
it's true. Yeah, listen, this fish got an offer. So.
Yeah, well this should have got an offer. But
it's okay. I'm not jealous. I'm not jealous, guys. I was from all the unis, and I did from all except Oxford, and all of mine, I think, all of mine are Russell Group. So listen to us. No, but anyway, after the personal statement for Oxford, you have to do an ELAT exam. So that's like
for English.
That's for English. For other stuff, I have no idea. So don't listen to this part of the video, because it ain't gonna help you. But for English, what is it? You get like a range. Is it 6?
Yeah, you get 6 extracts. It could be poem or prose or even non-fiction.
And plays.
And generally there's at least like 2 poems.
And they're on a topic. So for example, fish or food, just like random topics.
I think the one we got was partings, wasn't it?
Partings, yeah. And then you just have to choose 2 and compare them. Is it an hour you get?
I think it's an hour and a half.
And you just do planning and just do it. And we did a mock for it Mine went well, I think.
Mine went tragically, but then I just kept practicing till I got kind of better at it. And I found what worked for me was that I just ignored the prose and the plays and just went straight for the poetry, because I find it a lot easier to analyse poems on the spot and to compare poems on the spot. So I just went straight there. But I know you like looked at all the extracts.
Yeah,
so
I was like reading all of them, and I ended up doing for every single. Well, I only really did 2 practices, but for both of them, I ended up choosing prose and a poem. It's so scary between the ELAT or whatever exam you do and finding out if you've got an interview.
It's the worst point of the entire process. It's even worse than finding out if you've got a place, because it's like they could tell you at any time. Like so us and our friends who also applied to Oxford or Cambridge were literally waiting for a period of 2 or 3 weeks, and like we know people who had interviews for law who got offers for interviews like one Friday, but we didn't get them until 2 weeks later, and it literally could have come at any point. So it was just horrible.
It was tragic.
It was terror, because it was like you don't know when it's gonna pounce.
And then you get really scared for the interview, because it's like, oh no, because in some way it's like, oh yes, because it means, you know, you've got a chance. And if you're picked for interview, it means that they see potential in you. And already getting an interview, this is really cliche, but it's like a really good
anyone who gets into interview, Oxford or Cambridge, think you have the capability of studying there. So it, like, if you got to that point, then that's amazing.
Yeah, and I think, you know, because I said I was rejected and it was really hard for me, but I have to keep remembering it doesn't mean I'm a failure. It just means that, you know, it was just based on a variety of reasons, but since I got an interview in the first place, it does show I was close and it almost could have been me, you know, and it's just one of those things. So I talked about the interview process.
Your experience is very different to mine.
Oh yeah, that's a really good point actually.
Like we both went for the same subject. We both went for English, and if you've seen Katie's video about our interview, you got like 4 unseens, didn't you? Whereas at the college I interviewed at then, my first interview in the morning was all about my personal statement. So the entire thing, they asked me about things I'd said in my statement and asked me to expand on them, and it felt like a conversation. And they also asked me questions such as, the opening question was, tell me about what you're reading at the minute. So that was really nice.
Yeah, I wish I'd had these. I'm actually so jealous. It's really annoying because you don't know. You can't predict. Well, I'm not sure if you can like look at people and work out which interview is going to be best for me. I don't think you can do that because maybe they change it every year.
Like I had one where there was no one seen. It was all questions about my statement, and then things like, tell me about a book recently that you hated, and that was a horrible question. They asked me things about like, if you could pick up a poetry that had never been attributed to anyone before, who would you attribute it to and why? And it was kind of just English-based questions. And then the other one, I got an unseen poem at the beginning. I had 20 minutes to look at it and annotate it, and then I just had a conversation with them in the interview about that one poem, and they didn't like whip anything out like they did in Katie's. But it is, but you are judged against the people in your college, so I think everyone in your college had more unseens, whereas everyone in my college only had one unseen.
That is true.
So it's relative, but you do get different experiences at different colleges.
It was quite like a conversation, and I thought that I don't know about you, but my interviewers I thought were actually really nice on the whole, and you know, they didn't really try to trip you up. Apart from them giving me the hardest Shakespeare sonnet. But they want to give everyone equal chances and stuff. So don't be scared.
They are nice. Like they want you to do well, and they want you to get in, because they wouldn't be interviewing you if they didn't. So it's kind of like they're not out to get you. Like my first 2 interviews were like, I literally felt like I was having a conversation with them. The second interview I found a bit more difficult, because one of my interviewers sort of didn't give anything away, which was a bit off-putting.
There's a lot where there's like a good cop and a bad cop. I thought that, and it was really nice actually. It was quite like a conversation. What did you think of the people there?
The people I met at my college. I think like everyone was just really focused. I found like everyone really like wanted to do their subject. I met some really nice people. If you're watching, hi. Good to see you.
That was so cringy.
That was cringy. Really nice because the college I was in was quite big, and like the hall was massive, so I kind of spoke to different people every night. I ended up on a group chat as well, so like everyone seemed to kind of get together quite quickly, but again, you are only there for 2 days, and I was really fortunate that I had you and our other friend with us as well. So it is a really nice experience, and I'd say like to calm yourself down when you go for an interview, then definitely like talk to the people in your college, because everyone's in the same boat, and you might all be from really different places. Like I know like where we're from, I didn't meet anyone else from there, and it's kind of strange, but it's also nice.
I met so many nice people. Lots of people, I know teachers were like, oh, don't be intimidated, there'll be people from Eton and all of that stuff. But honestly, no one asked me, do you go to a private school, do you go to a state school? Personally, in my experience, I didn't meet anyone where I thought they were trying to intimidate me. There were people who I thought, oh wow, they seem clever. There were people who I felt on par with, as in I could have a good conversation with them, and I felt like, for example, in a classroom would be similar capabilities and stuff like that. So I thought, there was a big range of different people and different backgrounds, but at my college and from my personal experience, there was no one I met who I thought, I don't like you.
Yeah, no, neither. Like sometimes I did feel intimidated by some people just because of like the way they spoke, like with a lot of certainty. But I think that's just people, and that's not just an Oxford or Cambridge thing. That's just general people. But I think like as long as you remember, like you're there for a reason, because you've been chosen to go there, you're good enough to go for an interview there. There's no reason to feel out of place, and there'll be a place for you at the end of the day. So I think a lot of people have assumptions about Oxford and Cambridge being full of like posh people, and obviously there are going to be posh people, but the thing is, I think especially in the Russell Group universities, there are just going to be a lot of posh people wherever you go, and just because they're posh as well doesn't mean they're not nice. 100%.
So I think if you get an interview, just be open-minded, have conversations, don't be stuck in your room, because I feel like you'll just stress a lot for no reason.
Like, push yourself out of your comfort zone, because like even going to Oxford for me was out of my comfort zone. Like we got the train, and there was all this like travelling and kind of like finding the right college. Like me and Katie and our other friend were all in different colleges, and it was just like the whole thing felt like a really independent experience, because you have a room of your own and your key, and you've got to try and find the shower. Oh my god,
that was a really difficult experience.
Right, we'll insert here, if I can find it, a video of my room to the shower, because it's crazy. In the college I was staying in, I could not find the shower. I found the shower, it was just a long way, and then the second night I found a much closer shower, because a girl in my college told me there was a closer shower, so talk to people for that reason as well. They are helpful.
But if you don't get in, I think what we're trying to say is that it's a good experience, genuinely, and it's horrible waiting for ages to find out, and it's really stressful. It's sad when you don't get in, it makes you a bit jealous when your friends do, but at the end of the day you have a nice experience, and I'm happy for her, and I'm happy for myself, because it all works out in the end, hopefully.
It's not like rejection, it's redirection. It's it's kind of pointing you in a direction that might suit you better and where you'll still excel. So it's in no way the be all and end all. You're still so good at what you do that you've got Oxford or Cambridge on your agenda. So it's those two universities like don't have the final say on anything. Like it's not as big as it can be made out to be. So I'd agree with that. It is hard though when like a big group of people apply. Like we know quite a few people who applied, and it's hard when some people get in and some people don't, because like everyone wants to be happy for each other and everyone wants the best for each other because everyone, you know, is so nice and so dedicated. So it is really difficult, but you know, like we're here making this video together.
Yeah.
So it's
still friends.
As you can see, it's not the end of anything. Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say? Oh, how long it takes for other unis to get back. All my unis got back really quickly actually, within like 2 weeks I'd say. Oxford took quite a while, as we said.
Yeah, Oxford, we went for interview in early December and we got our response on 14th of January, so that's like how long you have to wait for that.
Another thing, written work. We forgot about it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes.
Right, backtrack.
So when do you send that? After the personal statement, I think.
Yeah,
and before the ELAT.
Yeah, you've not got to interview yet. It's just part of your application. After you've done your personal statement, your college you apply to will ask you if you're doing English. At least this is for English, and I know history had to do it, and I think a lot of humanities subjects. They'll ask you to send in like an essay you've written, and you can choose anything. So something you've written over the course of year 12 or year 13 is like better.
Yeah.
And it has to be like have comments on from your teacher, and they just sort of read that as part of your application.
Yeah.
Mine was just coursework, English coursework.
Mine was an essay, just did as homework on the Duchess of Malfi and Rossetti poetry.
Mine was Jerusalem, the best play.
But it's supposed to be just something that you did as part of class or coursework or whatever. But I think one of my friends like almost wrote a whole new essay. So not promoting that, just saying that's something.
Yeah, if you want to take an essay you've already done and then like make changes to it and make it better than that, you know, that's like fine. That's
You're not
fair play.
supposed to.
You're not meant to like write anything specially. I wouldn't really recommend that because there's no point, because your writing style's not going to change dramatically, is it? You've just got to show.
And you might not get in.
Yeah. So
I just keep coming back to that. I'm so salty. I'm sorry, guys. I try and not be like prejudiced anymore. But yeah, it's a great opportunity if you get in, and also, you know, other unis are great, and we've talked about the personal statement that you do is going to be for all unis.
Exactly, and if you write a personal statement in the style of Oxbridge, the other unis are going to think, oh wow, give them a place.
Yeah, definitely don't worry about how I said you don't have to do loads of extracurricular and stuff. Other unis don't mind that at all.
Yeah.
But if you're only applying to unis that aren't Russell Group, then do put like extracurricular.
Yeah, I definitely recommend that.
Yeah. But if you're applying to Oxford as well, like honestly, just don't worry about it. I had like 2 sentences on extracurricular maybe, because in your reference, just ask your teachers, include DOV, include my singing lessons. I don't do singing, I'm rubbish at singing, but stuff like that. Oh, include my drama, just all of that stuff. Can be added in your reference. Yeah,
like we both asked our teachers who were writing our references to add in things that we'd done that we didn't have room for in personal statement.
Yeah.
So that's quite useful.
Oh, and just as a side note, in case any of you are interested, predicted grades. I don't know what Oxford want as predicted grades, but obviously for us, to get in for English, it would have to be, we'd have to get 3 A's.
Yeah.
So we were both, our predicted grades are 3 stars, which I'm totally not going to get, by the way. But I don't know what happens if you have predicted grades that are lower than the entry requirement. But if you can beg your teachers to at least get 3 A's or higher, then that's probably a good thing.
Like if it was AAB, like I've still heard of people getting interviews, or you know, like AAB standard or ABB standard possibly, because it's kind of, it's grades aren't everything, and they know you've still got time to get them up. They sort of just want to see how you respond to things and your love for the subject. So don't try and fixate on them. I'm not putting pressure on myself to get 3 A stars. I really want my 3 A's.
Same.
But like the fact that I've been predicted 3 A stars was very useful for my application, but it's not necessarily going to be a reality.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean too much what your teachers do.
Yeah, and I think that's it.
Yeah. We haven't missed anything out.
No.
Process. Sorry, we forgot written work. That slots in. We can put in the description like in order what the process should be. Yeah, with written work in there.
And comment for any questions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
Au revoir.
other videos.
Bye.